My name is Michelle Cabrera. I'm from Bogotá, Colombia, and my major is a master in architecture. I feel like architecture, you have to go around the world to really learn about it. So my perspective of architecture in Colombia was, of course, completely changed when I got here. A lot of the designs we do, and specifically the pre-design, you have to look for like precedents. And I've realized that a lot of my precedents come from Colombia and from Latin America. One of my precedents was Rogelio Salmona. He did brick structures, but with organic shapes. So it's such a weird thing to do over here, but he's like really famous over in Colombia, and I feel like I use him a lot. One I really like, it was this class, Tectonics and Crafts. This professor, Frank Harmon, he said that because in that class we were supposed to, with our group, found and research an architect that he put out. In our case, we researched about Sugarban, and we had to do a biography, not about his designs or buildings, but about his personal life. So like his father, his mother, his wife, what got him, what motivated him. And going back to Frank Harmon, he ended the class saying, you are here because some parts of your life that are not even a school took you here to this moment. And I feel like that's a class that really motivated me. And yeah, that's the one. At first, when I got to the States, like all the calmness, all the like going around with your cell phone out, it was a weird thing for me. I have a scooter and I go around the scooter. I love it so much. So I feel like I can just do that. I didn't get to do that in my city because there were just everybody was like rushing all the time. That's why I'm here, to learn new things. When I'll go back vacation there, I'll miss Raleigh too. So it's just a weird thing. And then I'm excited to experience it because I'm creating a home over here. Not only because of the place of architecture, yeah, that's a point, but the people that I have met over here, my professors, my friends, and they just make me feel like so like personal, close by. Like I've met these people like 4 months, but I feel like I met them like years ago because I feel just so comfortable with them. It feels like so great. Like I can just be like so spontaneous and at the same time make a good relationship with persons. And I didn't have that opportunity in Bogotá because like it's such a big city, and that's like another perspective, like cultural. For me, like a cultural shock, but in a good way. Sometimes people, when they talk to me, I forgot that I'm speaking English, and then I say some slangs in Colombia. Like the popular ones like chimba or parce, and they're like, what? And I have to explain them. And it's just sometimes my friends even use it, so it's really funny because I had that. Okay, chimba means a lot like funny, amazing, and that. And parce is like saying bro, or what's that? Something like that. Mm-hmm. So it depends on the context, but yeah, just the words like that. Music has feel like, still make me feel connected to my roots in a way. I have teach some of my friends how to dance here. So it's really funny because people in Colombia say that people from Bogotá, from the capital, they don't know how to dance. But for Americans, when they see me dancing, they're like, oh my God, you're so pro. I'm like, really? So I teach them and I feel like, I don't know, it's really nice. It's another way to connect. So I feel like that's a way that I've been teaching them through myself a little bit about my culture. Mm-hmm. The first days in orientation, actually, I met one of my best friends over here. It was in the LASA, the Latin American Association. And I met her just like, I met her in the hallway and I was like, oh my God, I'm searching for this thing. And she was like, oh yeah, me too. And I was like, wait, do you speak Spanish? And she like said yes. And we just started to speak Spanish. Also over here in architecture, there are these groups, specifically this one, Nomas, and that is for like minorities and that. And they do a lot of events like selling plants and even meeting with architecture firms. So I have met people from my culture and met people over here too through those events that I try to push myself to do because it's a way of just still being connected to people from my culture, like I said, but also like I want to be here with people that are from here to understand how the place is, how I'm gonna get to know firms, how in the work field, but also in my friend side. So it's really balance that I have learned through these events and through these groups that I'm really connected to my side, and also try to make roots here in Raleigh. You're gonna learn a lot of things how you do it on your own. I mean, I have my parents, they're always gonna be supportive. I know I can call them and they just gonna answer, even if it's just 1 a.m. But like whatever I do, when I go out, when I'm like sick or when I need somebody, the person that's 100% responsible, it's me. And I have learned a lot of things that I do on my own. Also, you met a lot of people that are like you're gonna really connect. But that's because I challenged myself to talk to people in a way that I could be connected with them, and I make some real connections. You can do it alone. You don't depend on anybody, and you also know that besides that, you also have this part that's really important. You have your own friends, your own maybe bubble over here, because they're the ones that gonna support you in some things that you may not think you're able to do it alone. So I think those two things really help me grow. I will define global learning as just going through with the things that really at first kind of scare you. In my case, it was just sometimes asking how you do this. Just asking, and also being curious about it. Not because you want to just have the things checked up, like, oh yeah, this thing's like that because yada yada, but because you're like really interested in how they are done. That's why I'm here. So I want to know how our things are made over here. I'm specifically here because I want to learn how buildings are made here, how habitats are made here in the States, and that's a thing that really motivated me, just to be curious and challenging myself all the time.